We are live, Makerpark Radio. It's a Wednesday, 6-month anniversary, Type 88. Got a great guest in the building. I've known them for quite a while. We're going to get into that. And just thank you all for tuning in. 6 months. Shout out to Makerpark Radio for this beautiful platform. And make sure to support Makerpark Radio at any opportunity you get. So we got some special guests in the building. Got the Mercury and the Architects. What's going on, guys?
How's it going, Dave? Thanks for having us.
Of course.
I didn't know it was 6 months. Congratulations.
Thank you so much,
awesome.
Man.
Yeah. My name's TJ Mercury. I'm here with my sister, Chelsea Ray, from the Mercury and the Architects Music and Art Experience. And just grateful to be here. Happy to be here.
Grateful to have you guys. I believe we met, it was about a few years ago. And
where did we meet? Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, but I'm remembering we did meet at Joe Broadway's. Right. Yeah, so shout out to Pauline, shout out to Erin for putting that event together, I think, and Vinny. It was a while ago. But I met you guys there.
Yeah.
And you guys were really nice. You bought a hat, and we just stayed in touch. And I remember about a month later, we were at a school, inspiring youth.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So I think it was really cool how we got a chance to meet, and we've just been building ever since. I've been seeing amazing art as in music and visual art. So maybe tell us a little bit about how Mercury and Architects came about.
Yeah. So basically, Mercury and the Architects is a music and art experience that is dedicated to inspiring self-awareness, spreading self-awareness, as well as individuality. Basically, it's my music combined with my sister's artwork to create new and innovative storytelling experiences, as well as, again, share a message and amplify a message of self-awareness and truth. Started around 3 years ago. Me and Chelsea were both both chasing careers, I'd say, that weren't in line with our integrities or weren't in line with what we truly wanted. And, we had a realization, both of us, that we were living in other people's stories our whole life. Whether it be our parents or media or, our teachers. We realized that a lot of the things we were told to do or wanted to do and were actively doing were not in line with what we actually cared about and our truest values. And so basically we were really just unhappy around 3.5 years ago. And me and Chelsea kind of understood that the only way to figure out a solution or take the next step was going to be to look into our past and try and find what it was that actually made us happy before. What were the moments, what were the experiences that made us feel as if, we were our truest selves. And so basically I was writing music in high school, some in middle school, but mostly in high school. I was writing lyrics in school. I'd come home and I'd create a song out of it from a real, just pure expression standpoint. And I never thought I'd do anything with them. I never had the courage to do anything with them. I never thought I could sing. I never thought that being an artist was realistic, because I was surrounded by people my whole life that, were telling me that being an artist was not realistic, that I could not have a career being a music artist. So, again, we knew at the time that we were unhappy. The only way that we were going to figure out a solution was to kind of look in the past. So we started digging through that music and digging through her artwork and really listening for the first time in a while. And what we realized was that the message that I was, kind of expressing back in high school was more relevant to that moment than it was when I was writing it. And, it was relevant to her. And the message was really about being true to myself. That's what I was writing about in high school. It was, that stuff is not, true to you. And it was really telling myself to wake up constantly, and it was telling, Chelsea went back in her artwork and she started listening to my music for the first time, and she realized that it was bigger than me too. And that her work had a similar, message that again, that telling us where our heart was really, so from that point on, we decided to produce that music, put her artwork to it, create these experiences in hopes of sharing our story of how we are coming to self-actualization or becoming more self-aware, in hopes of inspiring other people to express themselves, and whether it be through art or dance or anything, we really are trying to use our work to inspire other people to express themselves and be themselves, as well as we work every day to be ourselves more, through the work. So that's really, that's our mission. That's everything that we're doing. We got an album coming out on December 22nd that I'm very excited for. It's a lot of the music that I wrote in high school.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, that album was a very ambitious record. I think you have some of it that we're going to get into right now.
Definitely. Yeah.
And, I appreciate you sharing it, and
of course,
I'm very excited to get it out. It's been a really long time. I've been waiting to get this music out.
Yeah, I remember I copped your EP. I think that around the time I met you guys, not too long ago.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And it's been really cool to just see the evolution. And what I really like about you guys are very detail oriented.
Thank you.
Like the drawings, they have like so many little lines and so many layers, and then if you look inside something, there's someone in there, like a clock here.
I'm glad you see
all these little things. And I really just wanted to shout you guys out, because we live in a very fast-paced Instagram post up, don't think too much, and I feel like
that's the point.
I've heard the project, I've seen the art, and from what I see, you guys really put your time into specific things.
Well, the goal is, like you just said, to get people to think. Really, again, I want to create work that is emotional, and we want to create work that is going to provoke that emotion and get people to really think not only about our work, but about themselves, and about the emotions that they might be experiencing that they're not reflecting on, because we are so busy and we are so distracted. Me and Chelsea were talking about this the other day in terms of, we live in the age of information, or the age of disinformation, right? And it's really, what is real? What is real today? How do we know when all the unverified sources, that we've always trusted are exposed, and, we can't tell the difference between a targeted advertisement or, an entertainment, what's different. It's really, to us, it's this revelation is what's real is the story that we choose to believe, all of us. And it's really about what story you're going to believe. Are you going to believe someone else's story, or are you going to believe your own? And that's what I want to do. I want people to start writing their own story and start believing their own story. Yeah.
That's so real, man.
Yeah, thank you. And that's the point of the detail, and really that's why we spent this record. Again, we didn't have to do this record the way that we did it. I got an investor on board for this record. We spent a lot of time in the studio. Awesome. We did it with Mark B. Christensen, who produced it. Yeah,
I was about to ask you who helped you put this together.
Yeah, so basically when we first started Mercury and the Architects, we played one of our first shows. We played in a basement in Soho in a really small venue. And there was a gentleman sitting in the audience, and there was only 10 people there, and one out of those 10 people happened to be an ex-politician from Connecticut, and he was a little intoxicated at the time, so I took everything that he said with a grain of salt, but basically he really understood what we were doing and wanted to invest in what we were doing. And after going back and forth, he kind of flaked on a bunch of stuff, but when I decided I wanted to do this record, I wanted to do something really ambitious. I was hitting a wall from a production standpoint after I did my EP. I was hitting a wall because the songs I was trying to produce meant a lot to me, and they needed a specific emotion, really, to be the movie I was trying to shoot. It needed to be a specific way, and I wasn't able to capture it. So basically, I started reaching out to producers. And the first one that I reached out to was Mark, because Mark mastered my EP for free. And I shook his hand. I remember I told him that if I ever have the opportunity, to work with you or pay you back, we're gonna make it happen. And so I reached out to him, and he gave me a budget in terms of what was needed to do the project. And I expressed to him how ambitious I really wanted to make it, and how high quality I wanted to make it. And, he told me this is what we're going to need. And it was a lot of money, but it was still very little money compared to, you know, the resources and everything that he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he mixed 50 Cent. He does, you know, a lot of really Trey songs, a lot of relevant people. So it was an opportunity of a lifetime for me. So I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get this money together? So I ended up reaching out to that guy I met in the basement who flaked on me a couple times, and asked him if he wanted to sponsor it, and came out of nowhere and he sponsored it for us.
Wow.
And, you know, came over, wrote the check.
Bless.
And, you know, we got Sean Pelton, who played with Billy Joel, plays on Saturday Night Live still to play drums. This guy Ben Butler played with Stevie Nicks. So really,
Nice.
the album is called Ghost That Haunts My Castle, and the intention was really to do something bigger than myself, was to take these songs and get these musicians and get this producer and make something that was really timeless, that was gonna last forever and multi-genred, and you know, hopefully build a lot of what we're doing around this as the cornerstone. And you know, I'm very grateful for everything that happened with it, because you know, obviously we completed it, even though there were a couple other things that happened along the way in terms of my company and everything else that happened. And you know, it's been done for a little bit, but we finally got our legs back under us, and you know, we're keeping moving, and I'm excited, very, very excited to get it out there.
That's amazing, man. It's cool that it kind of had like a startup movie vibe to it. Like, you meet the guy and things don't work out, and then but you stay in touch. You have these big dreams, and then that guy was actually like, so that's crazy.
I mean,
man.
and
just
that's
puzzling it together and making it work. That's so dope, man.
Yeah, very, very grateful for everybody. It was a lot of vested interests that understood the intention, you know, like although we were paying people, like the amount of time that everybody gave and the amount of effort was really in line with the intention of the project. So I'm very grateful to have all those people interpret my vision and, you know, build this rocket ship that I think this album is, essentially.
That's so real, man.
Thank you.
Speaking of the ghost that haunts my castle, let's get into a record. It's called Burn. We'll play it and we'll talk about it.
Very cool.
Let's get into it.
We rang the doorbell and waited for answers that never came to save our day. Stayed to the floor, felt, gave in to disaster, and was left out in the rain.
Outside in the cold, we were told that we'll never get in. The stories got holes that were never filled in. You know, wear the right clothes that you need to fit in. You know, write the right notes, better hope you listen. This one's too different, the last one fell short. Far from gifted, but too loud to ignore. Be a host, be a fraud, or a ghost in a song. In the cold, we were more, but not for too long.
Talk it over, feeling better ever since we're under pressure. We're not afraid of the stakes and the weight of our words. You know my name, my voice leads waves. When it gets cold, we still burn. We rang the doorbell and waited for answers. Stayed till the floor fell and shoved up disaster.
I don't knock nice, I let her go twice. Won't get goodbye or deny from entrance. Success never came polite or overnight, so let's whip that door off the
Can you
hinges.
stand between what they want me to do?
I won't leave the scene till they incarcerate me.
I'm out.
Then put out,
I say when
don't miss out. Can desire somehow murder your doubt.
cause the light burns now when you burn out.
Before we take control, before we put a hole in the door that was in our way. In the cold we were warm, but not past today.
Talk it over, feeling better ever since we're under pressure. We're not afraid of the stakes and the weight of our words. You know my name, my voice leads waves. When it gets cold, we still burn.
Till the clock strikes down on me, I'ma burn till they bury me. And my debris with no degree. Don't wanna see people like me succeed. Don't count me out just yet. I bet I know what it takes to get ahead. Again, back on the edge of self-destruction. Lose my head, was this all for nothing? Standing up for something these days with your bad luck. Catch you shooting in your back with your fucking hands up. Times are tough, man. Guess that they've always been. Ending up in the same
wow, these are easy to move.
So that one was called Burn. So tell us a little bit about the inspiration of that one.
Yeah. So Burn is really about not letting anything kind of stop us from doing what we intend to do. Really, not letting the story. Again, it's really, it goes back to the stories, right? It goes back to the idea of letting other people's stories or judgments or expectations prevent you from doing what is true to yourself. When it gets cold, we still burn, right?
Dope.
We still have the fire going, no matter what happens, and that was that's been the mindset since I started this, and it's the mindset that keeps us going, and it's going to be the mindset that spreads this message.
I like that, man.
It's
so cool. I feel like growing up, a lot of us are trying to find our voice, and like even now today, we still learn so much about us, even though we're grown up, even though we've dealt with a lot. But in a week, so much could happen, and so like you guys are very young,
right?
But you seem very mature. You seem like you've lived another life before this. Just the way you speak, and you said you've had companies and different things where I would think you're like 40 something, but you're not.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time it's easy to kind of not be mature.
Right.
So how do you like, who inspires you?
I think
where do you get your
I think it's the experiences we have in life. And first of all, I do want to say, like, I'm seeking myself. I'm seeking truth. I am young. She is young. We are young. Like, I haven't figured it out. I wake up every day and forget who I am, and start that journey. And tomorrow I'll do the same thing. But it's an endless journey, and it's just a matter of when you're 22 or whether you're 60. When are you going to start? When are you going to start seeking? And I think a lot of the experiences that I've had have shaped the perspective that I have. Football definitely had a large impact on me in high school, and having the magical experiences that I had with that, and a lot of different, played with a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and dealt with a lot of different types of adversity in that field, as well as pursuing certain other vices and other paths before I decided to do music, in terms of trying to start a Bitcoin company and pursuing a financial career, and I was trading coffee for a little bit. So really, again, I think the perspective, I'm inspired by all the different things and people that I've been exposed to that have showed me that, hey, this isn't for me. Hey, this isn't for me. Hey, this isn't for me. And realizing that, this message and music and, inspiring other people is really what I always loved through football. And nice. I'm trying to take that and channel it, through this project and what we're doing here.
That's
it's really
real.
Yeah, it's from what I've experienced so far, and it might change. I mean, this has been the most fulfilling experience since I've been searching.
That's real. How long, like, looking back, as we said, you're young, so looking back may not be too far, but when did you think you started searching?
I think in high school. I think that I was surrounded by a lot of people that and a lot of circumstance. I went to Staten Island Tech. It was an amazing school. I loved all the people that I went there with. But again, whether it be in football, whether it be with my friends in school, my teachers, and then a lot of the relationships that I made outside of school, it was there were a lot of conflicts from a communication standpoint, in terms of a lot of things that didn't feel right to me, or like, why am I doing this? Why am I spending this time there? And the questioning was like very deep rooted with me. It was very like, this is not right. This is not what I want to do. This is not, and I would go home and I'd write about it. And then, I'd record it and I'd listen to it. And I do feel like music is very responsible, has a huge impact on me seeking myself, you know. And ever since I really started that, you know, I've expanded, you know, beyond the music, you know, in terms of, you know, trying to become more self-aware with, you know, a lot of the things that I do in life. But yeah, I'd say that like we, again, whether we're 15, whether we're 60, I think we all reach a point where we're in a situation that isn't true to us, and we realize it's either, you know, I'm going to start asking the hard questions, or, you know, I'm just going to be unhappy. You know?
That's great. That's great that you're able to hit that fork in the road,
right.
yeah, and be
yeah.
like,
yeah,
that's dope.
Thanks.
So the album,
Yeah.
The Ghost That Haunts My Castle.
Mm-hmm.
How did that title come about? Was it the songs? Like, you had all these songs, and it was like, all right, this makes sense. Or did you start with the title? Tell us how and maybe give us a little introspect on like what the title means.
Yeah. So some of the songs from the album, again, were written in high school. For example, The Ghost That Haunts My Castle was a song before I named the album The Ghost That Haunts My Castle.
Got it.
And the process was trying to, again, I wanted to take this stuff and make something bigger than me, make an experience that was in line with the message that we're trying to share. So a lot of it was ordering the songs in a way that I thought was going to tell this thematic story, and figuring out this thematic story, and then finishing it. Like songs like Nightmares of You and How to Love Again and Burn were songs that I wrote, you know, while we were doing the album, essentially. But basically, in order from 1 to 11, The Ghost That Haunts My Castle is a thematic piece. So it basically tells the story of a journey towards self-love through two different perspectives. There's and shout out to Christina Maya for singing on this record. She's unbelievable. I'm very grateful to have worked with her. But she plays the other character.
Got it.
Essentially. And really the story is kind of exactly what I was just expressing to you. Me questioning myself. The first 3 tracks, I'm questioning the world around me. I'm questioning my doubts, my fears, in the Nothing But the Truth, and in The River, and in The Fire, I'm searching, right? And then in The Fire, I meet this woman who is also searching, and it's the first time that the girl character is introduced, and we realize we're both searching for something real, right? We're both looking for something real. I traded it all for something real, like that's one of the lines in The Fire. And then it becomes this love story, because we think we found it, right? So we both are searching, and we find each other, we bump into each other, and we're like, oh, like this is what's real. And then the next, I think, 4 or 5 songs are a relationship of control and jealousy and illusion, the illusions of love. And that was really the goal of the album, was to show my story of and that's what I forgot to mention too, with back in high school. A lot of this has to do with my relationships in the past.
Got it.
And how I've lost myself through my relationships, right? Thinking that, again, this is love, like what we're doing is love here. And then what happens in the album is we destroy each other, right? Like we realize this isn't love. We realize these are the illusions of love, jealousy, manipulation. And then, but through that pain and through that destruction, we find self-love, right? We find, and that's why it ends with burn, you know?
Got it.
So again, that was my journey in high school as well. That's where a lot of this comes from. Me losing myself in the various relationships that I had, and understanding that I wasn't able to love someone truly without these things like jealousy and manipulation and insecurities until I developed a better relationship with myself. And I think that, you know, a lot of marriages, and including my own parents, and you know, a lot of relationships, including the ones that I've experienced, have failed because of a lack of self-love. So really, The Ghost That Haunts My Castle is that voice inside my head, really, that is, you know, the woman, or, you know, the ghost, the stories that haunt us, you know, the ideas. So it's really like we have this whole, like, you know, we're trying to build a lot of these experiential stories around the idea of these climbing or traveling to the center of our maze, you know, trying to find what our truth is or our heart. And this is a journey to the center of the maze that goes on to my castle.
That's awesome. Let's get into it.
Cool.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
I remember when this table was surrounded every dinner. We were lovers of each other. We were drinkers, we were sinners. I remember when these chairs were filled with conquerors and dreamers, and how every conversation carried followers and leaders. I remember every moment as I play the movies in my mind, who knew that our opponent was all alone before the time. The dreams are all but broken. The conquerors have left me. I'm still sitting at this table, but the table's all but empty. I was here. No, you were there. I was scared. No, you were ill prepared and lost without a cause. I was misled. How quickly you forget the lies you tried to believe yourself. The cold goodbyes you never felt. So long farewell, you left us all alone. Where were you when we were hurting? All you care about was best for you. You're there behind the curtain, hiding from the painful truth. 'Cause honestly, it bothers me. This house was never stable. You're the reason why you're all alone, sitting at that table. I remember every problem that you'd create but never solve. Your demons and your goblins that you let invade the ones you love. The dreams are all but broken. The conquerors protect me. You're still sitting at that table, but the table's all but empty. I was here. No, you were there. I was scared. No, you were ill prepared and lost without a cause. I was misled. How quickly you forget the lies you tried to believe yourself. The cold goodbyes you never felt. So long farewell, you left us all alone. I was here. No, you were there. I was scared. No, you were ill prepared and lost without a cause. I was misled. How quickly you forget the lies you tried to believe yourself. The cold goodbyes you never felt. So long farewell, you left us all alone.
That was dope, man. That was dope.
Thank you.
It's like I'm hearing about like goblins and I'm hearing about dreams and all these different things. So I feel like it really feels like you're digging inside your mind and like heart through the experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even that word, even the title, like that itself, it's just you could kind of get it, but it's like, why isn't it home? Why? But I feel like castle is like a huge home,
Right.
but maybe it's not a home, you know, like, so it's cool that it's
Right.
it kind of makes people think.
Thank you.
That's deep, man.
Yeah. It's about, I mean, to me, it always starts with the emotion, and then it's trying to, you know, put words to that emotion, what I'm feeling. And sometimes it's not home, you know. Sometimes, like you said, sometimes it's more complicated than that. So I gotta find a word that's like, and you know, that makes me relate to the emotion more. So I'd say, yeah. Like you said, I mean, castle could mean home. It could also, you know, to me, it means brain. You know, it's the ghost that haunts my head, essentially. You know.
That's real, man.
Thank you. I'm glad you vibe with it.
So this is something I always ask people. Who are some people that inspire you guys?
Yeah.
We're all on a journey, whether they're people you know, we could still have mentors that we've never met, whether
Right.
they be books or different things or audio things. So who are some people that inspire you guys?
Well, I'd say from a personal standpoint, my father is one of the biggest influences on me. My father was an amazing songwriter. The song Bridges on the album actually is one of his old songs that we reproduced and had Christina sing, and something I'm very proud of too, because it was the most people that we got involved on a project for. But my father was a fireman my whole life. He was an amazing songwriter, never got the chance to really do anything with his music because obviously he had other responsibilities and life got in the way. So he's a big inspiration for why I'm pursuing what I'm pursuing, and he's extremely supportive. You know,
he is.
My sister as well.
I'll see him at events. He'll be like tweaking the knobs and like getting it right, and like he's ready. Like,
we've always had a really good relationship. So he's a big impact on me. And then, you know, musically, I'm really inspired by. I've said this before, but I'm really inspired by great songs and greatness and great artists. Like, you might just listen to, not you specifically, but I'm saying I'm very interested in the people that just listen to hip hop, and then the people that just listen to rock or a different genre, but how they'll both sing Sweet Caroline at a party. You know, because to me, like, I've always been so inspired by these great songs, like a Piano Man type of song, or even a Lose Yourself by an Eminem, like that transcends culture, transcends genre, you know. So I'm very inspired by that. I'm inspired by a tremendous amount of artists, like all over the place. Biggie Smalls, Blink-182, Billy Joel, Eminem, you know, Cage, a bunch of really diverse people that you know, have influenced the sound I've been able to find. Dope. And then also I'm very, you know, I'm inspired by from a business standpoint and from a ethics standpoint, and not really ethics. Sorry, I should leave that out. Not ethically, but I'm very inspired by people like Steve Jobs and you know, great minds and great thinkers who have tried to challenge the status quo. And, you know, people and artists that have been unique, you know, those are pretty much, my main influences.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome. So we got another record coming up.
Cool.
It's called Nightmares of You. So let's get into it.
Cool.
We'll talk about it.
Cool.
You turn your back on every angel that fell in your lap to try and save you from the hell you call your fire, from yourself that you admire. I kill your ego, I'm a shotgun when I leave you and you're forgotten. Try and see through all our problems till I leave you. I'm your ghost.
You turn your cheek to every stranger that you'd meet. Could have been your savior. See you later in the nightmare. You call my fault till I'm not there.
wasted.
Right.
Yeah. So that one was called Nightmares of You. Maybe give us a little bit of an inside scoop on it.
Yeah. It's my favorite song from the record. It's the most recent one out of all the songs that I wrote. And the line, "Are you the ghost? Are you the hope in my nightmare, or the ghost that I've always feared?" Really strikes a chord with me, and kind of, to me, it's a synopsis of what the record in its entirety is about. So it's really questioning: is this person that I think I'm in love with really, do I really love them? Are we right for each other, or is this just an illusion that I'm stuck in until I choose to ask that question? So it's a question that I hope people that listen to it ask their situation.
That's real, man.
Thanks.
That's so dope. And there's a lot of things that, like, speaking of nightmares, I would say nightmares that we deal with on a day-to-day basis are like fears.
Correct. Yeah.
And then challenge, and of course, or we feel like there's a challenge that we can't overcome.
Right.
Was there ever a time that you had to overcome something and it was like wow?
Oh yeah. I think, and really, I think that, again, going back to the music, a lot of people think it's very dark, but that's what it is. It's all my fears. It's all the stories that are in my head. That I'm not good enough, or we're not good enough, or and so I think that again, whether it be in business or with my friends, or in football, there's been many times so far in my life that fear was the only thing standing in the way from me being fulfilled, especially with this project. The only thing that prevented me from making music or pursuing Mercury and the Architects was the fear that I'm not good enough, or the fear that I can't be an artist, people are going to judge me. And this journey for me, my journey is slaying those demons and overcoming those fears. And again, I hope it inspires other people to either ask themselves the hard questions and slay their demons with my music, or go make their own music and hopefully face those nightmares.
That's real. Thank you.
Thank you.
As you know, something that's really important with me is dreams.
Yes, sir.
This album, I'm sure, was a dream of you guys.
Yes, sir. Yeah, definitely.
Is the album available yet?
December 22nd. Be on Apple Music and
Bless. So we
Spotify.
got the first listen here.
Yes,
So
sir.
when December 22nd hits, the dream has been fulfilled as far as putting out the album.
Correct. Yeah.
What's maybe some dreams that you have once that hits?
Okay. Meaning future drems?
Yeah.
Right.
Like once, because a lot of the time once I do one, I'm like, all right, time to set the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So what's maybe some that you have in line, or some that you have, or?
Well, my real dream is to really build experiences around some of this music. I mean, that's really the next step. We've created this online digital labyrinth. I don't know if you ever get the chance to check out this maze game.
The Crack the Code?
Yeah, the Crack the Code experience. So really, it's an online digital labyrinth that really my sister Chelsea over here created, that puts the music and the art into these digital portals where fans or architects strive to become an architect by cracking these codes and unlocking exclusive content and getting these exclusive messages. And really, the album, as well as a bunch of new music that I've been working on, and future music and artwork, is going to be within that labyrinth. So really, that's a dream of ours, creating expanding on this music and creating more of an experience around it. You know,
Okay.
I like to think, you know, I don't like to think of us as a band. I really strive to create the Pixar of music. Like that's what I look, you know, that's what I see Mercury and the Architects as. So that's really my dream. My dream is to turn this thing into a real storytelling experience. And then really, I mean, we have the maze that we're working on, as well as Archie, my girlfriend and Chelsea's friend, has she wrote an associated story to one of my songs that Chelsea illustrated a coloring book to. So basically, we're going to be coming out with a coloring book soon, as well, and an associated music video that you know, again, it's in line with mindfulness and you know, reducing anxiety. So really, again, my vision and my dream is to use this album as the launching point to, you know, hopefully create many experiences that further, you know, our mission of spreading light and self-awareness. Really,
That's really awesome. Damn,
you're really awesome, Dave.
Thank you.
Really,
You guys are too.
all these good vibes, man.
So this is another question I have for a lot of artists
Yeah.
that make music.
Mm-hmm.
If you could open up for any artist on a tour, what artist in reality? Like,
Right.
we kind of know where we are now. We know who's at certain levels. Who maybe in reality, like, that you could see would be maybe the entrance of more people knowing who you are before you get to the major space.
Damn,
so
that's
maybe
a tough question.
So maybe the intro artist, and then the grandiose, like the Coldplays and the Kanye's and the
right.
Lady Gagas.
That's a really tough question. Definitely more local. I'd love to collab more local and work more local. You know, even Jordan Barone and them. I'd love to play with them, just because, again, I vibe with what he's doing and his sound. You know, and Stereotype. You know, again, I really. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of you, and I'm, you know, you're going back to
Much
inspirations. You know, like I've always been very inspired by what you're doing with Stereotype, and I think it's always been very synergetic to my beliefs and what I want to build and what I am building and what we're building. And, you know, that's why I came up to you at Broadway, Joe Broadway's, and, you know, wanted to work with you, and, you know, that's why I'm here today, because I want to work with you. So
Much respect, man.
it's hard from an overall artist, like where I'm at right now. You know, I'm trying to network, I'm trying to connect. You know, if someone's listening or watching this that, you know, thinks that, you know, we could connect and vibe, I'd love to, you know, do that. But
Awesome.
you know, yeah, I'm just and then from a dream standpoint, who I'd want to open up with, or it's even harder, I don't know. Really, you know, I don't it's hard for me to picture myself like in the music industry. Like, it's weird. Like, you know, I obviously I'm a singer and a songwriter, and I do everything, like, you know, and even, you know, even Chelsea, like, we're musicians at heart, but it's, you know, I'm trying to build something separate. You know, I'm trying to exist outside of all of it. And again, I mean, you know, that doesn't mean I'm closing the door or, you know, not open to connecting or vibing. It's just that I want to create something alternative for people, you know. And again, artists out there, like, I have a tremendous respect for J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar and that message going on right now. And then, you know, I think there's so much innovative music going on inside hip hop as well as beyond, you know.
Definitely.
And really, it's just a matter of, again, I hope that there's millions of other artists out there with a similar intention working, you know, and I hope that we're all going to connect on some crazy, you know, stage in front of millions of people one day, you know, that gives people an experience that they've never felt or heard before, you know. So
That's real,
I think it's about pushing forward, you know. That's I hope there's an artist out there that I've never heard of or never met, you know, that we're going to do something crazy with.
And what festival could you see you guys rocking?
Oh man, these questions. I don't know.
Okay.
Give me some ideas. Where do you see
there's
it?
Bonnaroo. I could kind of see you guys at Bonnaroo,
Yeah.
because there's a little, like, the alternative vibe.
Right. Well,
It's
okay,
like
the alternative,
pop.
right? The alternative scene. I mean, we grew up with a lot of emotional music. In terms
I
of
could see you guys rocking Warped Tour.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like the youth would definitely connect.
Right. Yeah, the alternative scene, like you said, alternative rock music and stuff like that has definitely been the one lane that, we've kind of fit in. And obviously, this album is definitely different than a lot of the other music that I make. This is, a more classic rock vibe, and that was the intention, again, to try and make something timeless. The alternative scene and those festivals that you just mentioned are definitely somewhere, we're striving to be.
That's so real. So dope. Thank you for sharing these dreams with us.
Thank you, Dave.
Of course. I feel like what